When we hear the word self-discipline, we tend to have an idea of what that is, and we tend to think of it as a certain area. So it could be getting fit, it could be following a diet, it could be something to do with business, and we tend to categorize it into a particular area. But when we look at the original meaning of self-discipline, as in to learn of the self, or self-learning, we realize it's something deeper than that. It's something to do with us, something to do with our character, something to do with discovering who we are and actually what we're capable of being. So obviously then, if we look at self-discipline like that, we're looking at discipline and also fear, because we hold a lot of fear in us, and it's fear that holds us back from going after what we want to do, what we want to achieve. But also the fear, there's a lot of fear in fully embodying a masculine character, that responsibility we have, that duty we have to protect the world around us, to be a guiding example for others to follow, to protect women and children, to be strong, to be courageous, to be a man of integrity. That can be quite frightening, that can be quite fearful, because that's way beyond just being good in a particular area. It's actually being a moral pillar for your society and for yourself. So we end up cherry picking certain areas in life we feel comfortable with and excelling there, and we kind of think to ourselves, well, if I'm good there, then I'm okay, I kind of made it. But then we discover there's that kind of a void within us, an internal suffering, that sometimes we don't quite understand what that is. But it's because we've only excelled in one particular area of life. And you could take this to extreme examples and be very, very successful and still have that uncertainty of who you are as a man. Let me give you an example as a story. So my first mentor, Peter Hudson, this is going back many years ago, he was obviously the naturopath for a lot of rock stars in the UK and some real global megastars in the music industry. And he used to go to a gym where it's an exclusive gym where those people used to go to. And one of the guys came in as a guest for Peter one night, and this guy was quite something. He was in his 50s, he had no fixed abode, he'd been training with the Shaolin monks, and all he did was travel the world learning martial arts, philosophy, and he'd become a very physical and mentally strong person, very, very strong. Well, one of the biggest rock stars on the planet couldn't stop following this guy around in the gym. He was captivated by him. He couldn't understand how someone could be that robust and strong. And one day Peter said to him, "Why do you keep following that guy around?" And he said, "He's got something I feel I need." Very revealing words there. He's got something I feel I need. And that's what real self-discipline is. It's not just in a certain area. It's creating the character, creating the man that you can live within yourself and know who you are and be comfortable with who you are. You accept yourself fully. Now that's a really big thing. And when you do this, when you know who you are, when you accept yourself fully, something else happens. You start to see corruption in the world around you. You start to see the world as it really is. You start to see lies and untruth. An example of this is, you remember the so-called pandemic. We had many massive Hollywood elites and TV presenters and TV stars behaving like hysterical schoolchildren on camera, online, on the news, because they couldn't face the uncertainty and they couldn't see the difference between lies and truth going on around them, because they just hadn't mastered their fear, that character that's going to be congruent throughout all of their life. They just had it in one area, which left them open to being manipulated and fooled in other areas of their life. So we have an internal guidance system that we can activate, that we can tune into. And it's very, very reliable. But in order to access this guidance system, we have to go through a process of self-discipline. So we have to master our senses to a certain degree in order to access this guidance system. Otherwise, the personalities that lead you to drink, to drugs, to alcohol, or whatever it may be, obscure the signals that come through. They just can't reach you. So certain mastery of your senses of self-discipline will give you access to this internal guidance system. So I would like you to entertain the idea of self-discipline not as being disciplined in one area of life, but this self-knowing, this innate internal wisdom you have, and creating the character that'll be able to see things and accept them as they really are, so that you can go out there and make a real mark on the world, not just in what you do, but in how you are as a man. So in order to start accessing this internal guidance system, you can ask and say, why do I consume what I do, and what do I get out of it? And I'm not just talking about food. I'm talking about media. I'm talking about lies. I'm talking about what you watch, what you read, what you listen to. The original idea of fasting covered all of those things. It wasn't just about food. It was about everything that you were doing. So what do you consume on the level of media, on the level of what you listen to, what you read, and what you indulge, and what you eat? And ask yourself why you do that, what you get out of it. And that's going to start opening the doorway to that internal guidance system. And if you do exercise, ask yourself, why do I exercise this way? Do I do it for health? Do I do it for my own ego? Do I do it for adulation? Start to look at why you do it, and you'll get deeper answers there. So these are like introduce you to the hidden drives, hidden aspects that often remain hidden. And I'll give you another story, an idea of how powerful that is, and how, if we don't look at them, what can happen. So when I was a nutritionist for a private healthcare company, a lady came in, very overweight, with her husband, and she'd had all her blood tests done, and everything seemed okay, high blood pressure, and she needed to lose the weight. She was very overweight. And I gave her what I thought was a great diet, great nutrition plan. And we noticed that the weight just wasn't coming off quickly enough. In fact, it wasn't coming off hardly at all. So what we did is we booked an appointment with her one night with me to see what was going on. And she revealed to me that she had been abused as a child. And she was breaking down in tears, this lady, saying, I don't know what would happen with my marriage if I lost the weight. I would feel so vulnerable. And it was a real incredible moment. It's always incredible when people open up like that and so vulnerable, but it was incredible because it revealed how someone can actually block losing weight on the level of the mind, which obviously then will go down to the functioning of the cells in the body. Incredible that she was blocking that weight loss through fear of what is on the other side. And that's when I realized that you've got to cover everything, the psychology, the nutrition, the movement, in order to properly coach someone. Because they were really valid fears she had, but we hadn't discussed them prior to that. And this is what most mainstream diets do. They scold you on the weight scales to use kind of like willpower and motivation, and it just doesn't work. You have to go to why that someone is hanging on to that weight or hanging on to a habit, because often they're really frightened to let that habit go because they use it to subdue pain, to cover pain, to stay protected in their own way. So these are really big subjects, but that's some idea of how fear can get in the way of self-discipline. So self-discipline and fear, to me, are two sides of the same coin, because you have to face your fears if you want to become a truly disciplined person throughout all of your life and what you're doing, all of life's endeavors. So look at those questions and understand. I think it's important to mention here that if you do just embark on one thing, it's really unlikely you'll succeed and stick to it, because if you leave all the other fears in your life and you just focus on getting a good body, I've been there, I know, eventually it will just come crumbling down and you'll still come back to have to face your other fears. So try and look at self-discipline as that portal to potential, that portal to really overcoming your fears, and you then embark on something far beyond this weak notion of self-discipline we've got going on at the moment. It's so restricted, it's so caged in this outlook, and it's just not potent enough. So look at self-discipline as not just in one area, but a way you're going to build that character you want to be, the way you're going to overcome your fear, and be something you can really be assured that you will accept yourself in that role, in that skin, and you'll be a guiding example, not just to yourself and the people around you, but your entire society. And that's how we can change things on a huge level.